Question: do you know the 7 musical elements of a more classical piece of music that we actually can adapt to Rominimal and micro house tracks, so you can write better, more interesting, groove driven and full sounding Rominimal and micro house tracks, and actually transform them into an interesting arrangement so your track don't sound loopy? If not, this video is perfectly for you. In case you sometimes have the feeling that something is missing in your track, or if you find that your arrangement is not flowing so nicely like you would want it to, or if you simply want to gain some more clarity of the production game and want to learn more what building blocks you actually can use to create an engaging quality Rominimal or micro house track. Sounds good to you? Let's jump in. Hey friends, Silvano here from roughlystudio.com. So before I start, I quickly want to mention my softball snappy Rominimal Ableton Live kick template. It's based on Ableton's drum synth, but it's highly customizable. I added some layers and it's basically a preset that you can start tweaking, so you don't really need to search for another kick sample that doesn't fit into your track whenever you add new elements, right? Classical problem. You search a kick, then it's perfect, and then you add some more stuff, and on some level you don't like it anymore, and then you need to search for another kick sample. But with this template, you actually can just tweak some dials and then make it tied to the rest of your track, so you don't really need to search for another kick sample. If you like that, grab it for free. Again, click the link below and then you get it shipped to your inbox. And now let's jump over to Ableton, and I want to make a little walkthrough video showing you 7 ingredients, building blocks that we can use to spice up our track. And oftentimes I found especially beginners miss some parts of those 7 building blocks, of those 7 ingredients that in my opinion make a good sounding track. Oftentimes they miss at least one of those 7 parts, and I want to make a walkthrough video that was inspired by an Arapu track. And let's dive in. Let's jump into Ableton. Hope you like it. Okay, so before we start, I quickly want to play the track from Arapu. I got inspired, right? So just so that you get the idea, and here's my track. And so on. Yeah, so just that you get the idea. Now, what I want to talk about in this specific video here is about, yeah, 7 musical elements, yeah, in a more of a traditional way, and basically adapt them to electronic music, right? So I think in those 7 traditional music elements, so let me mention quickly the 7 musical elements that I like to think of. So number 1 is a rhythm, timing of the sounds, right? So maybe we have a short or a long sustained kick or bass or whatever it is, right? Maybe we have a tom, maybe the bass line goes like, get the idea, right? Or it's tuk, 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 tuk. That's the rhythm, right? Or then we have dynamics, and we think, or I like to think, in micro and macro dynamic, right? So we have dynamics on individual tracks. So zoom in here, for example, here on this specific kind of percussion track here. We have some kind of dynamic, right? We have, it's not static, right? It moves. And same goes for every kind of stuff, especially hi-hats maybe. Right? We can do so with effects, with velocity, with all kind of shit, right? So basically, dynamic says volume change or movement, in my opinion, right? And this is in a macro, no, in a macro, in a micro mode kind of view, right? So in a mini mode, on individual tracks, on individual sounds even, this is the micro view of dynamics, I like to think. Now, there is also a macro kind of dynamic, I would say. If we look at the track from start to finish, the macro dynamic in there, I would say, is the arrangement, right? Because there we also should have dynamic, otherwise it's a very boring, or it becomes a very boring arrangement. It's just static, there is no movement, no in and out of different parts, no movement, and so on, right? So you get the idea. So we need to bring in that dynamics on a micro level, but also on a macro level in order of arrangement, but also on individual tracks, in kick, in claps, in all whatever it is, right? Hi-hats and so on. Next thing what I'd like to think about is tonality, right? So tonality basically describes the vibe of a track. How is it? Is it happy? Is it dark? Is it kind of breakbeat track? Whatever it is, right? That's the tonality of a track. Very simple. Then next thing we have is timbre. So by that, what I like to think is the sound design aspects of individual sounds, right? How does the bass line sound? How does the kick sound? How does the bass sound, the claps, the synths, and so on, right? Then we have number 5, 4, 5. We have the form of the track. This is basically the arrangement, right? How is it arranged? Then we have the melody, or also the pitch. Pitch is basically, or a melody is basically just a sequence of different pitches, right? If we break it down in its most essential parts, right? And then we have harmony as a 7th part of musical elements, which is basically a layer of supporting that melody, or as I just said, the sequence of different pitches. I know this sounds really boring, it's very theory driven, but we get to practical examples just in a minute by doing this walkthrough, right? Oftentimes I have the feeling, especially for beginners, they miss some of those parts, and that can result in a boring track, in my opinion, or boring arrangement, or a track that doesn't feel complete somehow, or not full enough, or sometimes beginners say, yeah, something is missing in my track, but I don't know what. And I also discovered that when I listen to other people's track that they send to me, and I give it a ear, give it a listen, I often discovered that something was missing, but I couldn't tell right out of the bat that it was some specifics, right? But in my opinion, it's often one of those 7 musical elements, right? So either it's the rhythm, dynamics, tonality missing, the timbre, the form, the harmony, or the melody slash pitch, right? Now let's look into this Arapu inspired track a little bit more in depth. So we start with the bass line, right? It's very simple. And basically it's a Carpal Strong based Max for Life device, and I added some macros to it to quickly adjust the bass line, right? For example, tops and whatnot. And this is kind of the place into the rhythm part, right? So I could also make a more slower. Kind of vibe, right? Or rhythm. Already different vibe, but I don't like it. Now then I have this, this is the drum synth from Ableton stock plugins, right? So Max for Life. If you search for DS, basically you just need to type in DS, and if you have Ableton Suite, then you get this drum rack here, right? And I added some frequency shift to chorus, whatnot. So it sounds like this on the clap, especially. This is the normal clap, and the cool thing is you can really shape that clap. Right? What I also like is this spread button here. Right, so it moves a little bit. Little bit hiss here for the tops. A little crunchier. Same goes for the kick, right? By the way, if you want a little drum rack, I give you one for free, Ableton Live drum rack. It's based on this very Max for Live device from Ableton stock plugin, but it's basically a preset, right? If you want that, you can download it for free in the description below or in the link in this video just above the corner somewhere. And yeah, just a little note here. Yeah, that's about the drums. I don't need to go too deep into this. Then maybe this is interesting to you, the percussion stuff here. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but just mute this whole chain here. Any processing, right? It's just the normal, basically it's just a copy of the drum rack before without the kick and frequency shifter. If I turn it on, we get this result. And this is Sound Toys, Crystallizer, Filter Freak. This adds a lot to the vibe of this, right? And some echo. Tantra for the dynamics, and another Tantra. Next thing is this melody here. Simply use the chord plugin from Ableton. Without it, and how I got those MIDI files. I think I exported them from a sample pack. I simply used how was that name? Export melody or harmony, and then I just adjusted it a little bit. And as a sound source, I have this synth here from Carbon Reactor 6, right? It's a preset, honestly, very simple. Without it, with it, here you can hear it better. Next thing is a little layer that I added here, just now and then. Again, duplication of this one here, simply duplicate it, and I think it's another preset, and then added some sound toy stuff. So listen again. Quite a bit of difference, right? With crystallizer, nothing fancy. Echo Boy. That's a big changer, right? And this is all about the timbre, I guess, that we talked about, right? So we basically, this is the raw sound here. Really boring. Then we add this chord plugin, crystallizer. Create some evolving tops, and then Echo Boy on top of that. So we get those nice, smooth filler sounds, layers, right? That supports the melody. And this is called the harmony block of our 7 musical elements. If we talk in a more traditional way, right? That supports this melody above here, right? Both in solo, right? So basically I wanted this layer just as kind of a impact sound a little bit now and then, as an answer kind of thing to this melody line here. And then I copied this again, I guess, yes, to support this melody here again. Again, this is the harmony kind of thing if we talk about 7 musical elements. And here again, this chord plugin. and then I added this gen step 16. I showed you this in another video, I guess, already. It's a self-evolving step sequencer, so it generates melodies, yeah, evolving melodies, right? And again, reactor 6, same synth. No, not the same synth. This is Green Matrix. And let's see how this sound changed. But again, using crystallizer, sound toys. Tantra. Get a little bit textures, swirls, whatever. Without it. Yes, we need a little bit support, right, in the background. Without. See those small little changes. I love those small changes. We really need that support a little bit, just very slightly in the background, I would say, right? Then the next thing is another reactor. Who guessed, right? Chord again. I think this is again a duplication, and then I think it's a layer of this one. So those two play together without effect chain. Tantra, three instances of Tantra. Stacking them up, right? This is big. That's up. Then Tantra, first instance, second one, third one, for some dirtiness. Without. Something is missing, I would say. This sound I don't remember, honestly. Just some effect sounds. I don't remember, sorry. Here some simple hi-hats. And then again, same plugins. Crystallizer. And Tantra. Without. This gives a lot of drive, right? This one I also don't remember, I'm very sorry. Basically it's Tantra, I guess, and some synths. And so this was the main part that I came up with first. And then I run with it, and then I found, okay, that arrangement gets boring very quickly. So I added some other sections here, like this one. And this is a simple preset from stock plugin. No, stock plugin, but stock wavetable, I guess, Ableton. You can search for that sound, after fade chord. And this just plays in the background a little bit. It's kind of in a macro way to add dynamics, but very little. this is important. It's so subtle, but it's very, very important in my opinion. During the break, I let it play without that. Sounds cool, but I want to support something, the melody, right? I want an element that supports the melody, kind of, and builds a little bit dynamic in the background. Now with this element here. It's very subtle in the background. Basically just this, simple as that. And then one octave up. And again, this is just a preset from Ableton. Support the break. Some volume automation. Right? With it? Without it? With it? In my opinion, it works way better with that pad. And then I made another duplication of that pad and adjusted it a little bit. With Tantra, and added a little bit reverb so it stays a little bit further in the background, not so much in the front. And together with this one, right, without it. So I wanted to make it a little bit more interesting sounding, spice it up a little bit. Without those two. So we need those two sounds. They are so simple but so crucial, I would say, inside this break and build up to create that dynamic. Okay, next thing, here is another element, main element, same plugins again, Crystallizer, Sound Toys and Tantra. Basically just using 2 plugins for processing the sounds, maybe 3. It's the plain sound. Right, and then I simply played with the filter and stuff to add dynamic, right? And yeah, this one is basically just another duplication. Then I pitched it up and used different automations here on the filter, and also different effects, right? Effect settings to support this one. This sound gets supported by this one. And then the rest is really just some effect sounds. And here another effect sound. Another effect sound. What's going on here? Some vocals. Right. I think I processed those also with Tantra. Yeah. And that's it, basically. So yeah, to sum this up again, with 7 musical elements in mind. Number 1, we have rhythm, timing of the sound. So for example, the bass line, long or short, is the kick or the bass, long or short played, right? Then we have the dynamics, micro dynamics on individual tracks, even on individual sounds maybe. And then we have the macro, the overall dynamics from start to finish, right, over the arrangement. Here you can see some automation lines, volume automation. With simple volume automation we can create quite good dynamic, bringing stuff in and out. Those are the macro dynamics, right? I like to think in that way, micro and macro dynamics. Then we have tonality, the overall sound or vibe of the track. Is it dark? Is it more happy? Is it trippy? Is it what else is there? I don't know, breakbeat, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, this is tonality. Then we have the timbre, the unique sounds itself, the sound design. How do they sound? How is the kick sounding? Clapsons, etc. Then we have the form, as I just said, right, from start to finish. How is it arranged? What sounds are playing when? Again, this plays together with dynamics, right? Then we have the harmony. Those are the layers, right, that support the melody, the main element maybe. I have some elements that I showed you beforehand, right? Different layers that supports this very element here. And then last but not least, we have the melody, aka pitch, a sequence of different pitches, right? And there you go. There you have the 7 ingredients, building blocks to write better and more fuller engaging raw minimal or micro house tracks. Yeah, some final thoughts here. In the end, I would not overthink this whole concept and go too strictly about those 7 elements, but to break the rules, we first need to know the rules, right? In some degree. Again, we oftentimes just being aware of something can already help us to improve. For example, if you weigh, let's say, 200 kilos and you're not aware that it's because you eat 20 bars or 20 burgers at McDonald's every day, and that it's actually bad for your health, for your weight, then you can fix that, right? So, because you don't have the awareness. So, maybe on some level you think, oh, okay, maybe the burger is the problem. So, you maybe don't eat 20 burgers anymore. It's just such a stupid example, but I hope you get the point here. So, maybe you get the awareness if your track lacks something, maybe it misses some of those 7 musical elements. And this brings me to some questions, to some action steps for you. So, question number 1: do you sometimes feel that your arrangement is not flowing nicely? Maybe you need to dive in deeper into that topic, looking into one of the 7 musical elements, right? Or maybe do you sometimes found that your tracks are missing something, and maybe you need to figure out what this something is and fix that. Maybe it's the dynamics, maybe it's the timbre, maybe it's the, I don't know, the melody, maybe the harmony, the tonality, whatever. And last but not least, in what part of those 7 sections, of those 7 musical elements, could your track actually need improvement? That's my main question that I have for you, and my main action step. Is it form, aka the arrangement? Is it timbre, aka sound design? Is it rhythm? Is it writing melodies? And at best, we would have tools available to fill the job for every part of those 7 musical elements. If you like, let me know in the comment section on what parts you want to improve in the next 4 weeks and how you want to approach it. And if you need something for your sound design, for the low end, for the kick especially, I have my softpod snappy Rominimal Ableton live kick template. It's based on this kick here from Ableton's drum synth. You get some macros to it, you can really adjust the kick very quickly to your needs. And I also added some layers, so if you want that, you can grab it for free on the link below, or also in the video I add a little link button here, so you can download it for free. And yeah, hope this was helpful. Leave a comment if you like, and let me know in what parts you currently struggle with. Is it arrangement? Is it dynamics? Is it timbre, sound design, rhythm, melody, tonality, whatever, right? Thanks for watching, thanks for your time. Hope to see you next week. And I think I'll make a little Ricardo Villalobos track inspired. I don't know yet, but maybe. Let's see. Thanks for watching, thanks for your time. Really means a lot. Cheers. Bye bye.